Bullony Basketball.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball, here again for another season, the 7th one now. It's kind of crazy. You know, there will be a few things that I want to know before we get into the first episode, which is always the award predictions, standings predictions, and everything. This season, there will be a little bit of difference. Obviously, there's still going to be the mini games and everything. There's going to be tons of guests that you guys will expect. A lot of returning ones, maybe some new ones. I will say, though, that maybe the editing format might be a little bit different episode to episode. You might see a lot more episodes with multiple guests, and that is just because I want to get a lot of people in on the mini game for the season, like the main mini game. Of course, there will be some guests later on that come on, and then there might be like less episodes overall in this season, but that is not to say that Bullony Basketball still won't be fresh. Actually, I think every episode, the key is going to be to hit on more of thematic ideas, if that makes sense. You guys will see probably what I mean as soon as the second episode. This one, of course, is the award predictions, standings predictions, and I kind of want the episodes to be a little bit not as long, just so you guys aren't gonna have to sit here and watch me ramble for a year. You know what I mean? So it'll be like more short, sweet, to the point, or more concise speaking. So with that said, I feel like let's just hop right into the standings predictions. Now I'm just gonna pretty much have the full standings on the top of the screen. You guys will see. I'll write them through 1 through 15, and then we'll just go over it. So the Eastern Conference, my standings predictions go as followed. Number 1, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. 2, the New York Knicks. 3, the Atlanta Hawks. 4, the Orlando Magic. 5, the Detroit Pistons. 6, the Philadelphia 76ers. 7, the Indiana Pacers. 8, the Chicago Bulls. 9, the Washington Wizards. 10, the Miami Heat. 11, Boston Celtics. 12, Milwaukee Bucks. 13, Toronto Raptors. 14, Charlotte Hornets. And 15, Brooklyn Nets. So, a few things to talk about here. I do think the Cavs will have a better record than the Knicks. I mean, last year they did too. They have the same main core coming back. I know Garland starting the year off hurt, and so is actually Max Strus once again. But they have a better foundation, I would say, than the Knicks in terms of they just got a whole new coach in there, and it might take some time to adjust. I know they've looked good in preseason, but ultimately that is the preseason. You can't get a full idea from that. I just trust the Cavaliers to start off the year a little bit better. That first game, I'm pretty sure they actually play against each other, so that's going to be an interesting one. Maybe the Knicks could win that one. It is in New York, but I don't know. I just think the Cavs will have a better start to the year. I think once it gets to the end of the year, you'll see them more winning around the same record probably in the second half of the year, but I think Cavs will get off to a better jump, and then those two teams will be above the rest. The Hawks and Magic, I have them actually at the same record, you can see, but I do think the Hawks might get a little bit of that edge. I like what they did this offseason, you know, getting Kristaps Porzingis, gilgeous-alexander Walker. You know, I just feel like they really bolstered their team in areas where it's like they got more defensive minded guys, they got younger, and it really helps a guy like Trae Young so that he can maximize what he does best, and that is playmaking and, you know, taking care of business, I guess, late in games. So he doesn't really need to worry as much on the defensive end. Obviously, he's still got to be respectable, though. Detroit Pistons, they were pretty good last year. I actually think they got a little bit worse, but I think considering most of the East did as well, I do think that they will win more games and they'll actually have a better seed than last year. So that's why I got them 5th. I got the Sixers at 6 just because, you know, we don't know what's going to happen with Embiid. It's still stuff about like how he's not 100%. Paul George, you know, there's always that injury concerns with him. Maxey, I trust he'll be fine, and then Jared McCain's going to start out the year hurt too. The Indiana Pacers 7th. I know, you know, they made the finals last year, 1 game away from being NBA champions, maybe 1 injury away from being NBA champions. And yes, they're not going to have Tyrese Halliburton, but I still think they're a really deep team. I know they're going to actually be without TJ McConnell now for a little bit too, but between Pascal Siakam, who was an all-star last year, Andrew Nembhard, who he could even have a surge to be an all-star caliber player this year. So can Ben Mathurin, you know, Obi Toppin. I like the addition of Jay Huff. You know, they got DeLon Wright. Like, they just have like a bunch of guys that they incorporated into the mix that I am really fond of. I didn't even mention Aaron Nesmith. So they just have a really deep team, good coaching. So I trust that they'll be a playoff team or in the playoff mix. And then 8, Chicago Bulls. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty mid. I think think that we have more identity though now that we've gone through. This is the first full season without Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan in like 8 years. So hopefully we can get something going there with Buzelis, Noah Esenge, and get some of these younger guys some more opportunities. Kobe White's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. We'll just see how it goes there. I do think the Wizards will be pretty good. I have them 9th. I think that they have a great combination of veterans with Chris Middleton. They just added CJ McCollum. Of course, they got young guys like Bub Carrington and Alex Sarr. Even guys like Keyshawn George were pretty good last year. Like, they have a ton of young players mixed with veterans. I've been telling people, they remind me of the 2019 Clippers, where you had the vets like the Lou Will and the Gallinari and the Montrezl Harrell, and then you had the young guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you had like Landry Shamet. Then it's a good combination, I think, of guys who can really, put it together. The Miami Heat 10th. They're the Heat. They're always going to be competitive, but I'm not really moved by what they did this summer. They probably did about as good as they could, but I'm not really moved by what they got, and they'll still be in the playoff hunt. Boston at 11 might be surprising. I just feel like they're going to throw away the year. Now, if Boston didn't throw away the year, I could see them right up there with Indiana, maybe even above Philly too. I just feel like they're going to get around that 7, 8, 9 spot, and then around trade deadline, we're going to be here like, okay, they're not bringing Jason Tatum back. Maybe they even trade Anthony Simons, because there were rumors about that this whole summer pretty much after they actually acquired him, and who knows what's going to happen. I think they could shut down guys. They have really no big man presence right now either, so I could just see Boston being like, hey, this season's a wash. Next year we're going to come back and we're going to be 100%. We're going to be competing for a championship once again. 12, Milwaukee. They're really hard to gauge because you don't know what's going to happen with Giannis. I mean, Giannis could leave. He could leave in a week. He could leave in a month. He could leave in 3 months, or he could stay the whole season. With all that said, even if he stays the whole season, I don't even know if they're a playoff team because they're just such a bad group around him. And if so, they're like a fringe playoff team. So I put him 12th because I expect that maybe he will be gone by the deadline, and they're just not very good. 13, the Raptors. The Raptors are an interesting one. They could even be up there with the Bulls, in my opinion. It's really weird. They have so many wings on this team, and it's something where it's like, I need to see it before I believe it. And like I said, they could be better than a team like the Bulls, better than the Wizards probably. I think a lot of people have them there, but I don't know. I just believe in the Wizards a little bit more. 14, the Hornets. They made some decent moves too. It's just that I don't know if it really bolsters them up much in the Eastern Conference. And then 15, the Nets. I just think the Nets look pretty terrible. And then the Western Conference, let's rattle through these real quick and go through the same. 1, Oklahoma City Thunder. 2, Denver Nuggets. 3, Houston Rockets. 4, LA Clippers. 5, Minnesota Timberwolves. 6, Dallas Mavericks. 7, LA Lakers. 8, San Antonio Spurs. 9, Memphis Grizzlies. 10, Golden State Warriors. 11, Portland Trailblazers. 12, Phoenix Suns. 13, Sacramento Kings. 14, New Orleans Pelicans. 15, Utah Jazz. So number 1 should be pretty obvious, defending champions, Oklahoma City Thunder. 2 also should be pretty obvious in the Denver Nuggets. I mean, they gave them the best run last year for their money, and quite frankly, might have beat them if they were healthy, and I think they actually got better. They got a lot of additions, and they only got rid of the guys who maybe were bringing them down. Michael Porter Jr., who showed lapses on defense sometimes and maybe wasn't a great playmaker, or Russell Westbrook, who sometimes would just kind of play careless and a lot of turnovers. So I think that they're really diminishing those deficits or those negatives, and they brought in guys like Bruce Brown, who helped them win a championship, or maybe Tim Hardaway Jr., who could be a nice spot-up shooter, or Cam Johnson, who's probably was the best guy to get at the deadline last year and then never got traded. The Rockets 3, Clippers 4. I do think the Rockets will be a little better than the Clippers, just at least in the regular season. They got a lot more young guys, less to worry about with age and load management, but I do think the Clippers might be a better team. It's possible. It could go either way. I do think they will be 3 and 4. Timberwolves 5 and Dallas 6. This is another case very similar to what I said about Houston and the Clippers. I think that the Mavericks, when fully healthy, might be a better team than Minnesota. They have a lot of front court depth, and now they, got Kyrie, Clay, D'Lo, and then even Cooper Flagg could maybe play the 2. I think they were playing him at the 2 in preseason a little bit. So we don't know what's going to happen really. Still got like Jaden Hardy and stuff like that, Christie. So they are a really deep team. I think that they could make some noise if they're fully healthy, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be at the start of the year. So that's why I think they'll end up 6. The Lakers in 7th. It already looks pretty weird for them right now. I mean, LeBron, he's going to be out for like 3 to 4 weeks. You just don't really know what's going going on with this team. It seems like a mess that's a little bit more disguised just because a lot of people that are fans of them and they want them to succeed, but I just don't think it's going to work out that well, and I think they'll probably be in a play-in spot again. I got the Spurs 8th. I like what they did. They got Fox for a full year now. They got Dylan Harper, another year of Stephon Castle. Of course, Wemby is going to be another year better, and he didn't really finish last year either, so I think they will be a top 8 team. 9, I got Memphis. They'll still be good. I know they lost Desmond Bane, but they're still a young team. They did add Ty Jerome. 10, the Golden State Warriors. I know they made some moves later in the offseason, like Al Horford, Seth Curry. I'm not moved by it personally. I just think that Draymond's definitely getting older. Al Horford's definitely getting older, and I just don't think that this team is going to last throughout the course of the year. There's the whole Jonathan Kuminga bubble that's going to be circulating all season too. 11, I got Portland. I think Portland is actually a pretty good team, and they're going to be interesting to watch next season when Dame is back too, because I think that they could really be in a position where like the Spurs are right now, or maybe even like up where the Mavericks and Timberwolves are. But right now I think they'll be 11th. I think that they'll be like just missing it, but they'll prove their worth. 12, I got Phoenix. Really no expectations for them this year. They're going to be a decent team. They're going to win some games. They could probably beat any team on any given night, but I just don't think they're going to get as many wins as, previous years even. So I got them 12th. I got the Kings 13th. I think the Kings are just kind of a wreck right now. They're just kind of farming a lot of guys who are maybe on the tail end or maybe past their prime, and it's just not a really good fit. There's Sabonis trade rumors. There already is trade rumors with DeRozan and, maybe even Levine's. Those will start soon too, so it's just not looking too great. 14, the Pelicans. I don't think you can ever really trust Zion. I think it's gotten to that point where he's just, even when he's playing, he's arguably an all-star. He's not even like a guarantee all-star player. So with that said, and then you also just lost Ingram and they added Jordan Poole. I don't know. I think this is just going to be a wreck of a season. And then 15, the Jazz. There's just the Jazz. Like, there's just nothing going on for them either. The market and trade rumors that it continue over and over again. They traded Colin Sexton and picks for Yusuf Nurkic. Jordan Clarkson, they just let go. So none of it really makes sense with what they're doing. Award predictions, I'll show them all on the screen once again, and then I'll go through them. My MVP, Nikola Jokic. Rookie of the Year, Cooper Flagg. Defensive Player of the Year, Victor Wembanyama. Sixth Man of the Year, Jordan Clarkson. Most Improved Player, Jay Huff. Coach of the Year, David Adelman. Clutch Player of the Year, Donovan Mitchell. So MVP, Jokic. I really think he should have been MVP last year. I know maybe that was a little bit in the less favorable category because a lot of people thought it would be Shea, but still a lot of people did think Jokic too. I do think he will get it this year because you can't really use like that voters fatigue anymore against him that could go in favor of Shea. Shea has won one. Jokic has won before too. So it's just going to have to go to whoever's the better player. I think it's going to be Jokic, especially because I think the Nuggets as a team improved more to get closer even to the Thunder, if that makes sense. And that was probably the biggest thing holding Jokic back from winning it last year is that OKC won so many more games than Denver. I think that's going to be a lot closer this year. Rookie of the Year, Cooper Flagg. I feel like I don't even really need to explain it. Number 1 overall pick. He looked great in preseason and summer league even, and I think that he's going to have a great role at the start of the year with AD maybe missing time. Kyrie's going to miss time, so he'll get a lot of opportunities. I think Wemby will be Defensive Player of the Year. He was on track to win it last year, and then he ended up missing the second half of the year, so seems pretty self-explanatory. I do think Jordan Clarkson will be Sixth Man of the Year. It's really weird with the Sixth Man of the Year right now because there's not a whole lot of top-tier candidates, I would say. I mean, like, Naz Reid's always going to be in that mix, and then, like I said, Jordan Clarkson. But aside from that, like, there's not a whole lot of guys that really stand out to you. So I'm going to go with Jordan Clarkson. He hasn't won it in a couple years. We'll see. And then Most Improved Player, Jay Huff. I said I like Jay Huff. I think that Jay Huff will make a difference in Indiana. I think that he could add a lot of floor spacing to them and a lot more offensive versatility than maybe what Miles Turner was providing them, at least near the end. Defensively, we'll have to see, but even then, Miles Turner wasn't great defensively near the end either. I know that maybe his reputation has really developed that because of what he did in his first couple years with the Pacers, but over the years, he really was starting to slide as a defender. Coach of the Year, I'm going to go with David Adelman. The Nuggets, if they have a better season, I think that he is definitely going to get that recognition. Clutch Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell. I know I've gone with him, like, I think the last 2 years now. Last year, I probably would have been him or Darius Garland, but for some reason, they just canceled each other out or something. This year, Garland's going to miss time at the start of the year. I think Mitchell's going to have to lock in late in games to get them wins, and we'll see if he gets it done. So, play-in picks. pretty simple. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going to show them all on the screen. Everything is pretty much the same. It's just going to be all 7 and 8 seeds going into the playoffs. However, in the East, I have the 10 seed Miami beating the 9 seed Washington, and then I had the 9 seed Memphis beating the 10 seed Golden State. Before it is Lakers over Spurs, Spurs over Grizzlies, and then Pacers over Bulls, Bulls over the Heat. Finally, it's like a tradition. Bulls play the Heat in the play-in. I think this is finally the time that the Bulls beat them. First round, I'm just going to rattle through them all. East and West. So 1 seed Cleveland, 8 seed Chicago. I got Cavs in 5. The 2 seed Knicks, 7 seed Pacers. I got the Knicks in 7. The 3 seed Hawks, 6 seed Sixers. I got the Hawks in 6. And the 4 seed Magic, 5 seed Pistons. I got the Magic in 7. In the West, we got the 1 seed Thunder, 8 seed Spurs. I got Thunder in a sweep. The 2 seed Nuggets, 7 seed Lakers. I got Nuggets in a sweep. The 3 seed Rockets, 6 seed Mavericks. I got Rockets in 7. And then the 4 seed Clippers, 5 seed Timberwolves. I got the Clippers in 7. So just talking about these real quick, I do think the Cavs might let up a game against the Bulls. So I think that the Cavs will get it done. Pacers beat the Knicks last year in the playoffs. So I don't think they're going to go down easy. Of course, I do think the Knicks will beat them because no Halliburton is a huge factor there. But I do think it will be a tough fight. That game 7 might not be super close. So I think Knicks will definitely handle that. But I think it will go to 6 or 7 games. 3 seed Hawks, 6 seed Sixers. I just think the Hawks are a better team. Sixers might win a game or 2 though. And then the Magic and Pistons, I think it'll be really close. It'll be a low scoring series all around, but I think the Magic might get it done. Home court advantage might be crucial there. Thunder and Spurs, I just think the Spurs are very inexperienced. The Thunder just won the championship, so I feel like it'll be a pretty easy series for them. The Nuggets and the Lakers, the Nuggets usually always get the better end of the Lakers. I could see, LeBron having situations where it's like, oh, he's just leaving games early if it's like a blowout or something. So we'll have to see, but I just don't trust the Lakers' chances. I think that Denver's going to expose them, especially on the perimeter, because they have guys who can defend their guards too. Rockets and Mavericks, that could be an interesting series because I think the Mavericks have better veteran leadership, but of course the Rockets got Kevin Durant and they got Steven Adams in the locker room. They got Jeff Green in the locker room. So, and Ime Udoka, of course, is the coach. So it will be interesting, but I think Rockets win that one in 7. It'll be close. And then the Clippers, Timberwolves, that's another one that could really go either way. And honestly, I would not be surprised if the Timberwolves won a game 7 there, but I'm going to go with the Clippers. I think that, in the biggest games, Kawhi always rises, probably more than anyone else. I'm just going to lean on him. So second round, we got East and West. We got 1 seed Cavs, 4 seed Magic. I'm going Cavs in 6. 2 seed Knicks, 3 seed Hawks. I got the Knicks in 6. The 1 seed Thunder, 4 seed Clippers. I got the Thunder in 6. And the 2 seed Nuggets, 3 seed Rockets. I got the Nuggets in 5. So everything going to 6 except the last one. Cavs Magic. They played a couple years ago. It went to 7. I think that Cleveland has a little bit more of an identity found than Orlando right now. So this would be a big win, I guess, for Orlando if they got to the second round. First time in a long time. But I think the Cavs are just more built for this moment. And then Knicks and Hawks, I think that the Knicks will get it done, maybe get their revenge on Trae Young. But, considering that rivalry, I wouldn't be surprised if it went the other way. But I'm going to go with the Knicks. They just are the better team, in my opinion. And then 1 seed Thunder and the Clippers. It's going to be like a 3-2 series, and then it'll be 2-2, and then the Thunder will win game 5, and game 6 will be close, but I think the Thunder will win it. It would be cool for the Clippers to get back on the Thunder after winning the title last year, but I just don't see it happening. And then Nuggets, Rockets. I think the Rockets just aren't totally ready. I think that the Nuggets will handle that with ease. Some of that inexperience will show. Conference finals, 1 seed Cavs, 2 seed Knicks. I got the Cavs in 7. And then the 1 seed Thunder, 2 seed Nuggets. I got the Nuggets in 6. Cavs in 7. I think that it will be very close. Like I said, I think home court advantage is going to be crucial there. And these are really the top 2 teams in the East. Anything could happen, but I'm expecting a big game from Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley in that last one. I just feel like in the last game, for some reason, it might just be superstition, but I feel like Karl Anthony Towns will not get the better end of Evan Mobley. I could be wrong, but that's just my gut feeling. And then the Thunder Nuggets, I think the Nuggets win in 6. Like I said, they almost beat the Thunder last year, and they had them in a really good place where they wanted them. They had injuries. I think they're a better team this year. The Thunder, not to say are a worse team this year, but also they're starting off the year with Jalen Williams being hurt. And they might have injuries down the line. Who knows? They were really healthy last year, so give me the Nuggets in 6. And then we got the 1 seed in the East, Cleveland, and the 2 seed in the West. Denver, I got the Cavaliers in 6 winning. I got Donovan Mitchell, my finals MVP. And this could go either way, but I think the biggest reason is because the Cavs do have a lot of bigs that they could throw at Jokic between Mobley, Allen. They just got Thomas Bryant, who played a big role on a finals team this past season. Larry Nance Jr., he's also made the finals, and he knows what it takes at that level. And they're never going to stop Jokic, but they could slow him down a little bit. I think that also just for the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell is going to go off. Maybe you could say, well, Darius Garland might be played off the court at sometimes. That's true, but I also am looking at who else is going to be that shot creator to match Donovan Mitchell. If Evan Mobley is scoring about 20 points a game, you're going to have a guard and big combo that can do that. And Jokic is going to provide that for Denver. So it would rely on Jamal Murray on the other side. And I just don't think he's matching the level of Donovan Mitchell. He almost did, in the bubble. They were very close. I think Donovan Mitchell got a slight edge in individual performance in that series. Of course, that was years ago. Of course, it was way different teams. But I also think Donovan Mitchell's a much better player now compared to Jamal Murray's improvement since too. But I'm going to go with Cleveland. I could be wrong. I think they are one of the favorites to win it regardless. I think that they just had a really bad exit last season and they're going to be looking to bounce back. The East is more wide open than ever. And if they get to the finals, they play a team like Denver. Denver's going to have a little bit more experience on their side, but I still think there are players on that team who could show their inexperience as well. Peyton Watson or Julian Strawther if they're asked to get in. So anything could really happen. But that is my predictions. Stay tuned for the future episodes. I think that this is going to be a pretty good season of Bullony Basketball. Like I said, there might not be as many episodes in this season, but trust me, there's still going to be a lot of action-packed activities that you guys can look forward to. I'm excited to bring them to you guys. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button below. Subscribe if you're new. Just stay tuned for more. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace.